Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Babby and this is my presentation on my journey through softball. So my purpose of this speech is to go over my softball experience and specifically where I started, a difficult time I had, and how I overcame that experience. Sports are something that most people have experienced, whether it was as a child, in a PE class, or you still play now. However, experiencing the sport and sticking with sports are two completely different things. So, according to Sports Engine, 70% of children drop out of sports by age 13. And they also state that kids want action, freedom to make mistakes without fear of backlash, socialization with friends, and control over their own activity, according to Sports Engine. What this is saying is that kids want to have fun. Nowadays, there's a lot of pressure put on them to either continue playing to earn a scholarship to play in college or just play competitively. This means that they join competitive teams at an earlier age, and oftentimes that those teams prioritize fundamentals over fun. So personally, coming out of recreational softball, I wanted a high-level team to help increase my own level of play. And when I joined this team, I improved drastically, but at the cost of my mental health, something that took a couple years to kind of regain. A quick preview of what I'll be going over. I'll go over where I started, my introduction to travel ball, joining a competitive team, and then finding passion again after that team. As I mentioned earlier, I started with T-ball. I joined T-ball when I was 6 years old, and I played rec ball up until 12U. I followed my rec ball coach up to a low-level travel team, and it was a travel B team, meaning that we just played in low-level tournaments. We played to have fun, and there wasn't a lot of pressure necessarily. I was with them for a couple years, but I grew frustrated because we were a low-level team that a lot of the girls weren't there because they wanted to be. It was kind of forced on them. So it was frustrating as a player who wanted to do well, who wanted to train hard, having teammates that didn't match that intensity. So I decided to move on to a travel A team, you can call it, and it was a lot more difficult. They had much harder practices, they had a lot higher discipline, higher expectations. And personally, I didn't have a problem with that because I was a firm believer in the idea that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, a quote by Tim Notick. And I really believed I could rise to the expectations. Now, I was with this team for about 2 years, and it's only kind of looking back that I can see how it wasn't the best situation. I became really anxious. I would check my bag like 3 times before practice. I'd go to games and practices way ahead of time because I was so worried about being late. And during practices, I would play, and games actually, I'd play really restricted because I was so worried about messing up. I overthought everything because if you messed up, you had to run, or the team would have to run. I didn't want my teammates to hate me because I was making us run. And I mean, one of the coaches was really intense. She would yell, you would be called out. It just wasn't the best scenario. After the first year playing with them, my mom kind of begged me to leave. She goes, I don't think this is the best situation for you. I would come home crying from practices. I was so upset, but I knew that this team was making me a better player. I could see my fundamentals improving, and I knew I was becoming better. So I stayed with them for another year before I finally decided that I needed to leave. I ended up joining a new team, and it was a lot of already recruited players, so everything wasn't as intense. There was still a high level of play, but nowhere near as intense as the other team was. So I'd almost quit, but my parents convinced me to join this team, and I'm so grateful I did, because after playing with them for a couple years, I regained my love for softball, and I still play to this day. So my softball career started out at a low level, and I almost quit, but I'm here now, and I'm glad I am. Thank you.